Christian Studies Department, and I titled my presentation, Does Korea Let Us Have the Freedom of Conscience? Let me start my presentation with the following question. There's a crime where 93% of the prisoners are Korean. Do you know what that crime is? And according to Human Rights Council, there is a crime where 90% of the prisoners are Korean, and 4% are Armenian, and 2% are Eritrean, and 1% Turkmenistan. I've never even heard of these countries. Do you know what this crime is? It is called conscientious objection. A conscientious objector is someone who refuses to go to military service on the ground of their ethical reasons or religious beliefs or conscience. Conscience is a part of your mind that tells you whether something is right or wrong. Conscience is your value. Conscience is your worldview, and conscience is your belief. Does Korea let us have the freedom of conscience? According to Article 19 of the Constitution, everyone has the freedom of conscience. But I want to ask again, does Korea really let us have the freedom of conscience? I'm going to explain how Korea does not let us have the freedom of conscience in military area and why it is a significant problem, and then suggest a feasible solution. It was only a couple months ago when I first met and interviewed a conscientious objector. I thought they were like weird or in odd cults, Idan cults. But he was a normal Christian guy. It surprised me. He even seemed fun and social. And he told me a story about the Bible. Someone was trying to arrest Jesus to kill him. So one of the Jesus friends caught that person's ear. And Jesus goes, no, don't do that. Put your sword away. I can bring like 12 armies of angels, but I don't. Anyone who lives by fighting will die by fighting. So this guy takes the Bible seriously. And according to the Constitution, he has freedom to do that. He purely doesn't want to fight back his enemies. He purely doesn't want to train himself to shoot guns toward other lives. He purely doesn't want to practice killing people, even if he'll get hurt, shot, or killed. But it is not an easy decision for a Korean guy to not to go to military service, because we call them a loser or we murder them with online comments. And also, it'll be hard for them to get a job or marry someone after they're released from prison. So he spent 7 years thinking about it, talking about it, praying about it, and waiting for the law to be changed. However, eventually he had to decide that he would rather be in prison than disregard his conscience. The Constitution says everyone has the freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, and freedom of expression. So he expressed his religious conscience. It was his peace language. But the Korean government ignored his expression of a religious conscience. Is it right? I want to ask, does Korea really let us have the freedom? I would say no or yes, but we can't use it. Not only because of religious reasons like his case, but also because of ethical reasons or personal beliefs, or there are many numerous people in this world against war. If Reverend John Scott or Mother Teresa had been Korean, I'm sure they would have been put into jail and called criminals. It is a significant problem that our freedom of conscience is not truly guaranteed in South Korea. I'm not saying we should all become against war. I'm saying that we should have freedom to be against war. I understand the country can limit our freedom and right for security. However, the Article 37 of the Constitution says even if it limits us, it cannot infringe the essence of the freedom and right. And what we want to protect through security is freedom and human rights. But how are we going to protect them through war if we don't protect them now in practice? Moreover, in the 20th century, UN Human Rights Council says we must not discriminate the conscientious objectors. But still, in the 21st century, there are many countries that ignore this. Like China, or South Korea or North Korea, Cambodia, China, Cambodia, Afghanistan. In contrast, there are 40 countries such as America, Sweden, Germany, or Austria. They have alternative service for conscientious objectors' freedom. I know it is controversial because Korea is technically still at war and military service is really important. However, freedom to think what we want to think, and freedom to believe what we want to believe, and freedom to value what we want to value are extremely important at the same time. And freedom for us to choose whether we want to be for or against war should be definitely guaranteed in South Korea, as long as we want to remain a liberal democracy country. So the solution to harmonize the security and the freedom is alternative service. Actually, Korea does have alternative service, and that's longer than just normal military service, which is 2 years. But the problem is that for 4 months, they should also have to train themselves for combat with using guns. And also after this alternative service, they have to have reserve force training once or twice a year for 8 years with using guns, which is the whole reason why they want to refuse to go to military service. So it is pointless for conscientious objectors. It is not an alternative service. So my solution is very simple. We can simply change these 2 periods into times when they can get trained and educated for this, whatever job they will have for 2 years or longer. Because if they have to use guns like this, they'll have to get trained again for whatever job they will have in this time. So it is such a waste of Korea's resource. So by doing this, we can guarantee the freedom of conscientious objectors and also make better social welfare in South Korea. People are worried that some people might fake their conscience because we cannot measure it. I understand your point. However, it cannot be the reason to punish conscientious objectors. First of all, because it's not even their fault. And second of all, there are 40 countries that have alternative service. That means there should be a way if we try. And most importantly, we should not give up having something fair and just because we're afraid that it might be used wrongly. It's just a court excuse for our indifference and irresponsibility. With citizens and Ministry of National Defense and all the government people and conscientious objectors should try the hardest to find the most proper way to make it work. There is hope. There is peace. There is hope. An-Soo-Jeon, the previous Supreme Court Justice, said, we should accept the conscientious objectors' freedom and have alternative service. I hope the day when we can truly have the freedom of conscience and freedom of religion, and freedom of expression, and the day that we can have the complete peace without any war throughout the world comes soon.